If you're tired of this attempting to connect with men who don't show up for you, if you're feeling a bit defeated, if you are a bit sad about what's showing up right now in the dating world, you get ghosted maybe, you connect with friends who tell you the same thing is happening to them, you can't seem to find those elusive, conscious men who show up and who pursue and who pull out the chair and who have their stuff worked out or are on their path of getting there. And you're saying to yourself, I don't want to spend the rest of my life alone, but at the same time, I do not want to lower my standards just to find someone. Yeah, sure, you can get a boyfriend tonight by going to the bar and batting your lashes, but that's not what this is about. You're looking for someone who's devotional and kind and connected and centered and grounded and masculine and has a vision for his life that can meet yours. You've worked hard to be where you are and you want to connect with someone who's done the same thing. Well, I'm going to say something today. This entire video is about something that is talked about at a very superficial and, may I say, bullshit level, but that can make a giant difference if angled correctly, if angled fiercely, if angled from a place of true sacred recognition of who you are, that can change the dynamic for the rest of your life and your ability and your resonance to attract the right type of partner for you. Because there's a lot of dialogue right now on videos, on podcasts about the strategy and the best app and the best line and the best way to hook him and how do you make him obsessed with you and all that crap that does not work. And I know because I've dedicated the last 14 years of my life to guiding women who are successful and conscious to attract the love of their lives. And I know right now from a very visceral place what works, what doesn't. And that does not work. That's a gimmick, that's a tactic, that's a manipulation. That is not what allows you to wholeheartedly attract someone who fully shows up for you. Someone who kisses your feet in the morning, makes your day better, and ends the day with honoring you in the most conscious and exciting way. Maybe you make dinner together. Maybe you make love. Maybe you have conversations that are meaningful. Maybe you call each other with your feeling and your heart without even having to talk. You get a chance to sense each other. That type of connection doesn't come from the superficial version of what I'm about to talk today. Today's topic is somehow trivialized in the hallmark world of relationship advice. And in some ways, it's talked about in a very cosmetic way. The subject I'm talking about right now is fierce self-love. And not the self-love of I'm better than you, not the self-love of glorifying your own achievements without empathy or care or kindness or compassion for the other, but a fierce self-love that honors the amazing nature of your sacred being and moves forward to call in someone who resonates and vibrates at exactly that frequency. I'm not talking hocus pocus here, new age stuff. I'm talking about when you are that clear with yourself. And it's not a thought, it's a feeling and a vibration. When you radiate from that place, the inevitable experience, if you put yourself in the right context, and by that, I'm going to link up a video where I talk about stop using apps and go meet men in real life. There's a way to do that. And again, I'll link up that in here if you want to learn more about it. But the gist of my message is this: the degree to which you love yourself fiercely, and I'll describe more what that's about in a second, is the degree to which you can create a connection with someone who can meet you and be a match to what you have to offer. Now, because that person, if you're a single woman and you're heterosexual, that man is not the norm. Let's just put it out there. Let's just elephant in the room. That guy is not the guy you're going to meet in every corner or in every app. But those guys do exist. And if you want to connect with one of those guys, you need to be clear about what it is that you have within yourself and expressive enough to where he can meet you there. So the way I want to do this video is slightly different from the other videos I've done. And I'm a little scared because I typically reserve the writing that I'm about to read to you to my select group of people who are in my newsletter, who have known me for years sometimes, and who have understood the nuances and intricacies of my work. I don't expect many views from this video, but I would hope that the right person who gets it, who gets it in their heart that this is not some hocus pocus magic, but this is the truth and the essence of what's absolutely the prerequisite to the deepest, most devotional love you get to experience in this lifetime, that for that person, and if that person is you, that it opens a path in your heart that changes your behavior, that allows you to create something that may have felt elusive for years. So with that said, what I'm about to do right now is I'm going to read you the latest thing I wrote and shared with my audience and see what you think about it. Okay. So this piece I'm about to read right now, I wrote as a 3-part essay of sorts that includes, number one, holy moments in my life that have both uplifted me but also broken my heart exponentially, humbled me, dropped me to my knees, and have been the catalyst for the deepest level of self-love that I've been invited to. So I'm sharing them in full vulnerability so that you might identify yourself perhaps in some of the situations, add your own, and be moved to start loving yourself more fiercely. The second part is my definition of self-love in a very clear, practical, non-BS way, so that you can start stepping into that every single day. And the third part in this piece is an invocation to step out and live the kind of life inspired, full of fire within, that will transform into your ability to attract that partner that you've been seeking for a long, long time. So here it goes. I've been reflecting this morning on the last 50 years of my imperfect, often hopeful, sometimes messy, and although I hate to admit it, at times raw and shameful journey of being human. And how underneath that torrent of rainfalls, I can feel in my bones a grounding patch of sacred grass that holds my footsteps, especially when I can't seem to see the path ahead. And I'm brought back to so many holy moments that have made me who I am, starting with sharing a womb with a twin the day I came into this world, sitting down at my grandfather's studio on a sunny autumn afternoon, witnessing this gifted music icon and orchestra conductor infuse his sensibility into my soul through his playing of sublime chords on a brown wooden piano, falling to the floor at the tender age of 7 after being slapped in the face in front of my entire family when I dared to speak back to authority, holding hands with my first girlfriend at the age of 11, sneaking at night in the hallways of my camp in Norway, the vows I exchanged with a trembling voice exactly 2 days before the turn of the century at my own wedding, the first time I heard my son cry, that mystical breath that brought him into this life, his soul suddenly filling up the entire room at St. David's Hospital in less than 1 second. And then the blessing of my second soul's arrival in a similar mystical first ray of light, his unique nature even hungrier from his first moments alive, holding my father's warm hand from his fever tightly for hours on the day he took his last breath. The promise I had made him to find him again and share his essence through my work. Crying at 2 a.m. over my black wooden desk while editing videos for more nights than I can recall when my business wasn't yet working, and silently asking, will this ever work? Walking my dog Simon to the edge of his selfless life and all the regrets and all the lessons that his passing brought to my life. Losing myself in my work and missing out on thousands and thousands of precious moments that will never come back. Getting divorced and the inevitable gift of shame that accompanied it. Finding and losing love and intimacy again. Rising to become a more present father. Poetry returning to my life, dropping to my knees and finding inspiration out of sheer necessity and not luxury. Opening my heart in devotion and faith to the arrival of spring in my soul again. Walking on the shoulders of my ancestors who died for my freedom. Praying for rain. And all of this got me thinking that in my decade plus years of guiding exceptional women to experience deep devotional love, The same swaying cadence of holiness and suffering is always taking place. I think it's the price for being human. Not two humans are the same, and yet every single woman I've been blessed to help has gone through her own version of this dance. Different stories, same essence. So not only is there not a problem in walking in and out of your own imperfect path and light, but I don't see how anyone can do it any other way. And yes, the consciousness level of the heartbreaks can evolve through time, but no one escapes the multiple messy falls. Perhaps the biggest problem we all face is innocently and secretly wishing for a problem-free life, even when problems are the inescapable doors for evolution and transformation. Which brings me to my main point in writing these words for you today. Oftentimes, the determinant factor in experiencing deep, romantic, devotional love in your lifetime rests in our ability to learn to love ourselves deeply and fiercely through it all. People talk about self-love all the time, but it often falls into the BS platitude of positive affirmations or massages at a health spa. And while I have nothing against this indulgent and sometimes needed experiences, self-love is much simpler, but at the same time, way more challenging than that. Self-love is holding yourself in high dignity and care the many moments when you can't stand your own reflection, your own self, or your own actions. And this doesn't mean downplaying your behavior that's hurtful or avoiding responsibility, but it does mean understanding that hidden in the pain of that heartbreak and regret is the seed for everything you came here to do in this life. Self-love is a softening of your own inner voice on those nights when you're calling yourself undignified names. It's embracing yourself with the same level of compassion and tenderness as you would your own child, especially when you're drowning in the riptides of failure or shame. Because the seed of this love is your messy path to the kind, passionate, healthy love your soul has craved for years. And if you're still listening to my voice, you need to hear this. Be kind and fiercely devotional to yourself. You can't, should have done anything. If it didn't happen, you didn't have the invisible yet necessary emotional tools to pull it off. Write yourself a sonnet or a prayer. Treat yourself to a barefoot walk in nature. Swim naked in cold water. Meditate to sunrise. Pray under the moon and dare to fall in love again. And above all, know that as long as you're still breathing, you've got a shot at your most epic love story. The essential price to pay is silently, imperfectly, fearfully even learning to forgive yourself as you walk down a path that will only arise with each courageous new footstep. So there you have it. That, in my definition, is the thing that is needed today if you want to accelerate the path between this moment and walking down the aisle and saying, I do. This is the secret sauce that most people are not talking about. And this is not about thinking you're better than anyone. This is about loving yourself in the most devotional way, in the same way you would your own child. It's about the moments where the guy asks you to have sex with him on the first date and you kind of want to, but you love yourself enough to know that you might get attached to him, and you say with clarity and with power, no thanks. And there's no vacillation in your voice. You're clear about it, and he gets it. He either steps up or steps the F down and leaves you alone. When you show up with this level of clarity and compassion, and you're not wasting half your energy punching yourself silently for what you did or didn't do, this is the thing that allows you to create the resonance that brings about this transformation in months instead of years. So if you find this helpful and meaningful, if you feel, you know what, this is slightly different than the typical love advice that I hear, it is different. That's what my channel's about. I'd love for you to click like and subscribe. If you felt this is something that a friend of yours could need, please send it their way. And if you want to continue learning how you can attract the relationship you want without the need for gimmicks, manipulation, games, or stupid techniques, please make sure to watch the next video right here.